calling to order the June 4th, 2025 Pottstown Borough Council meeting. Would you rise for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge to the flag? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Start?
Yeah.
Good.
You want to come up?
Me?
Yeah. All right, so first off tonight, we have a retirement resolution for Winter Stokes. So I'd like to call Winter up and read you the resolution. All right. So on behalf of Borough Council, recognizing Winter L. Stokes for 8 years of dedicated service to the Borough of Pottstown, whereas Winter L. Stokes has served the Borough of Pottstown as a dedicated employee since 2017, and whereas during her career with the borough, she served in a number of different capacities, including administrative assistant and zoning and planning administrator. And whereas for the past 7 years, Winter has worked in the position of zoning and planning administrator, and during that time, she made numerous decisions and determinations consistent with the zoning ordinance concerning permitted uses, prohibited uses, conditional uses, and special exceptions in order for property owners to receive the best level of customer service possible. And whereas Winter's presence at the Borough Hall will be truly missed by the people that have worked with her, now therefore be it resolved, and it is hereby resolved by the Mayor and Town Council, that Winter L. Stokes is officially recognized for the outstanding service she has provided the Borough of Pottstown through 8+ years of employment, and further that she has extended best wishes for a happy and well-deserved retirement. And Winter, I just want to personally thank you. I know that the zoning and planning administrator is a critical role for us. The decisions aren't always easy, and we try to do our best to get every project through and make everybody happy, but making everybody happy isn't always possible, but I know that you always tried your best, and you did a great job at it, and you always put the borough's interests at top of mind, and I really appreciate everything that you've done, so congratulations.
Okay, under emergency service, Chief Hand, anything to add? Anyone? If not, infrastructure, Councilor Lebedinsky.
It's in your packet.
And transportation, Councilor Proskal, anything to add? Should be online. Nothing.
Yeah, I don't think they had a.
Okay.
I don't think they had a meeting.
All right, ordinance review, that would be Proskal also. Economic development. Ms. Lee Clark.
Good evening, councilors, Madam Mayor. FED is open for tickets, so please visit the website if you don't want to wait. So please make sure that you get onto the website, Pottstown FED, and those tickets are $15 apiece. And there's still sponsorship opportunities. So sponsorship opportunities, we're very grateful to the sponsors that have already stepped up. We would like you to continue to look at those opportunities. We are especially interested in those white cars. So if you have a white historic car, luxury car, we're very interested in that, and that's really a special sponsorship packet this year. So we
Okay.
hope it, yeah, no, not a borough car. I saw it, I can read lips. So the other thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is last week, Commissioner Winder came with the Commerce Department as well as some senior staff from the county. They arranged the tour, so PAID normally does those tours for our county commissioners, but they arranged the tour to walk on Main Street, so you didn't get left out by PAID. I wish we had had more time to go to more businesses, but it was very nice, and it was a great afternoon to be able to walk and see those businesses. And I know she made several other stops, but I just wanted to recognize that. So we were able to highlight all of the great things on High Street in the Downtown Business District. Lastly, speaking about the Downtown Business District, which is the focus of the survey that is out, if you will please visit Pottstown Area Economic Development's website, there is a link to a survey which should take you approximately 7 to 8 minutes. You just have to check off things. Please share it with your visitors that come to town as well. It's not just a resident survey. It's about various experiences, those that have businesses, those that come to the borough for participating in those businesses or visiting family and friends, and then residents themselves. It is part of the membership benefit. PAID is a member of PA Downtown. They are collecting all the data results, so we get the data, but we don't see the individual responses. And it really talks about quality of life issues as well as why are the reasons you come. Do you bike here? Do you come by car, et cetera? So it will really give us a great idea of what people are saying about Pottstown in a very non-biased way. And so there is a $50 Visa gift card at the end that you can be entered into to win a $50 Visa card. And you do have to provide your email address, though, to PA Downtown to be eligible for that. So if you would all do it, it's really helpful to get as much data and information as possible from varying viewpoints. So that is my report this evening.
Okay, how about an update on land bank?
There really is no change to land bank. We're waiting, we're working through all the documentation to get to settlement with Habitat for Humanity on 633 Walnut. But other than that, there really is nothing else to update.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Human Relations, Ms. Levengood? Don't see her.
She's online.
Oh, you there? I hear it.
See her on. Okay.
All right,
She's not on.
come back. From the library, Mr. Vasoli.
Good evening, council members. For the library, we just launched our summer reading challenge. This was particularly noteworthy because this is the first year in 5 years where we had an increase. It was declining year over year. Now, participation is up 20% from last year, and in fact, that is an all-time high. So we're very, very proud of that. Our annual appeal launches in September. It is one of the primary sources of revenue for the library. Each of you can expect a letter, naturally. And we have a new fall fundraiser in October that is going to be an alcohol and wine tasting at the library. There will be food. You're going to pay for a ticket that gives you an opportunity to taste alcohol, which is a small but important legal distinction. And that's going to be a huge fundraiser. The working name is Booktoberfest, which we're quite pleased with ourselves for that one.
Oh,
And that is what I have.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. And from the Ricketts Centers, Counselor Kirkland, anything to add?
Yes, they just wanted me to mention the two summer programs they have going on. They're both from June through August. And it's the summer camp program and also the basketball program. And they wanted me to mention the phone number for any further questions. 484-945-1020. So it's a summer camp and the basketball program, both from June through August. 484-945-1020.
Okay, thank you. Pottstown School District, Counselor Lindsay.
Okay, so I got a couple things, but everything is in the packet. If you didn't hear, Joe Cerisi invited Josh Shapiro to come visit our schools. And again, it's in the packet, and the kids, there's pictures and everything. I got it from Stephen Rodriguez's post. The kids are so excited, and he took a tour of our schools, and he wanted, Joe Cerisi wanted him to come and just take a look at our schools and see why we request more funding. And right now, as we speak, Joe is having a, what is he having now? Oh, a town hall meeting, sorry. A town hall meeting at the high school right now currently till from 6:30 to 8, but I'm glad you decided to come and join us today. Thank y'all, I appreciate y'all for doing that. But maybe if we adjourn early, you can run down there to the high school. Also, this is an article from Evan about the school board settled for 92.7 million for the school budget. That's a 5.8% tax hike. So I want you to take a look when you get a chance. Take a look at the article. It's very good, got details and figures. So I want you to take a look at that. And Corporal Dice, he had pizza and stuff at the Rupert Elementary School for National Bike to School Day. And I think that's it for me.
Thank you. And from our solicitor, Mr. Garner.
Well, good evening, Dan. Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, tonight, under Solicitor's General Discussion, I thought it might be appropriate to provide a brief overview and potentially a preview of some coming attractions as they relate to certain vehicles and personal assist mobility devices. And I'll just call them vehicles for ease of terminology. We're talking about scooters, we're talking about bicycles, we're talking about electric scooters, we're talking about skateboards, pedicycles, electric bikes, motorbikes, all those things that are really coming into fruition in this day and age that maybe weren't so popular or didn't even exist a few years ago. I know our Ordinance Review Committee is presently working to look at our ordinance, to update our ordinance on these items. But as council knows, the ability to regulate or control these types of vehicles it comes from two sources. One is the state vehicle code, and the other would be our local ordinances. And I'm sure that the Mayor and Andrew can confirm this, that many times our state statutes don't really keep up with the changes in our society or technology. And most likely when the main elements of the vehicle code were enacted, we were probably dealing with trucks and motorcycles and bicycles and not necessarily all these other types of vehicles that we now have. And so in order to assist our police department in the enforcement of these things, as I mentioned, the Ordinance Review Committee is looking to update and provide you revisions to our current traffic ordinance so that our police department can issue citations, and those citations clearly explain or depict the violations should they be occurring. Without going into a great amount of detail, I would say that the requirements for each of these types of vehicles differ, and the elements of the requirements, and I'll just name a few, would be whether they're able to have licenses or not, whether these vehicles are required to be registered or not, whether there's a mandate for those using these vehicles to wear helmets, the location of where these vehicles can operate legally, and the maximum speeds these types of vehicles are permitted to achieve. In our upcoming meetings, when these ordinances and drafts of ordinances are essentially in your lap to look at, your job will be to determine exactly what ordinances are appropriate, and potentially more important, what is the priority you want to give to the police department with respect to enforcement. Our department certainly has its hands full with many, many issues to deal with. And these types of enforcement issues for scooters and skateboards and segways and different things like that, council would need to weigh in whether that would be a high, medium, or low priority enforcement. I first want to thank the chief for educating me on some of these issues. Chief, did I miss anything, or is there anything you want to add to the presentation, since your department is the one that deals with these on a regular basis?
No, Chuck, I know you can't see me, but that was fine.
Okay, thank you, Chief. If council, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. But again, I think the ordinance review should be coming to you with some suggested changes to our ordinance. So at that point, you'll have an idea to determine exactly what your priorities are and how you would like to handle these issues, because I know that these devices and vehicles are becoming prevalent in the borough and specifically the downtown.
Chuck, it's Andrew.
Yeah, yes.
Would these vehicles not be permitted on the street, or would they have to travel in the bike lanes? Okay, because I see a lot of these vehicles in bike lanes. Is that where they would go?
Yes. It depends, Andrew, it depends on the type of vehicle. So some would be limited to the bike lane, and others, depending on the type of vehicle, could be on the general street. Typically, we won't want really any of these on the sidewalks. But again, when ordinance comes forward, the location of where they're permitted or should be used, to the extent it's not specific in the vehicle code, it could be controlled by local ordinance. So that would be kind of council. Obviously, you can't create an ordinance that would override the vehicle code, but on some issues, the vehicle code seems to either be silent or maybe not quite so crystal clear.
Thank you.
Certainly. Any other
Hear me
questions?
now?
Can I?
No, still no. You can't hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, great, fantastic. Yeah. So, yeah, but yeah, like I was going to mention for the review or ordinance review. Yeah, we did discuss this in the meeting. Just some details, and I get the kind of feedback from the rest of the counselors, and also just kind of the risk. I mean, it's easy to create an ordinance against something, and it's a little more difficult to enforce it. I mean, there's typically at this time of year, I'm sure you'll probably hear one in the next 30 seconds. A motorbike or illegal vehicle that is deemed illegal already. And but after discussing one of our sergeants, it was kind of sergeant. It was encouraging that that potentially the use of cameras might be able to help enforce this. Where typically for moving violations like speeding, cameras don't really provide a lot of help. So just if you guys want to get back to me and let me know, and then I think we'll be meeting in July. I think if whatever you guys would like to do this forward with. So.
Okay. Yeah, right. Certainly correct. The enforcement is the key, and typically on these violations, I believe the department's policy is that the officer needs personal knowledge of the violation, not based upon information received. So it can be difficult, but again, if the proper ordinances are in place and the officer witnesses the violation, I think enforcement can be made a lot more easy than it is potentially now under current ordinances and the current vehicle code.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Chuck, would you mind clarifying our ordinance now does not permit motorcycles or dirt bikes, street bikes, to be operated on our sidewalks, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And we're not changing the ordinance to allow that, correct?
Certainly not.
Okay.
I don't want to speak for what council wants, but I suspect the ordinance will become more restrictive and address each of these types of vehicles or devices, Mayor, so that everyone knows where they can operate legally, or potentially where, like you said, can't be operated at all in the borough, on exactly, what type of device it is. So all that would be flushed out in your.
And if there's anything that you can do in the ordinance to maybe address specifically vehicle noise, motorcycle noise, I know everyone complains about it. When you're walking through the neighborhood at 6 a.m. for your morning walk, I have seen people that have been very respectful who have motorcycles, it can be done, who go through the neighborhoods on their way to work and don't rev their engines to wake the neighborhood up. Then I have seen people go 80 blowing through the stop signs on Wilson Street. So, and I know with the ordinance for noise and et cetera, it's gonna be hard for any police officer to enforce that because by the time it gets called, the motorcyclist is gone. And, but I don't know if there's some penalty that we can like hike up for the noise.
For
Yes.
cars
Well,
as well.
Yeah, that was motor vehicles, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk to the chief to see what his thoughts are for that issue, but you're right, Mayor, it's tough. Noise ordinances are always tough. And again, it's a question of an officer actually witnessing the violation. And that's just a timing issue, right place at the right time.
But cameras wouldn't assist with that, right? Even if they're audio, okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you,
Okay, thanks, Chuck.
certainly.
Mayor, your report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I was hoping the crowd was going to be a little larger because the town hall over at the high school was a little light. So I was hoping everybody was here.
Madam is having one too, because I got a phone call.
So if you want to make it over to the meeting, it ends at 8 o'clock tonight. You have half hour if you'd like to join the town hall, Joe Cerisi. All right, since last time, we had our second meeting for the Youth Drug and Alcohol Prevention Coalition, which is led by Bishop Anthony. And I'm really glad to see that individuals in the community who've been working on these initiatives in little pockets are at the table and we're like collaborating. So I feel like it's gonna be a much greater impact and a further outreach to the kids in Pottstown. So I'm excited about that. Thriving Communities Team, which is funded by the U.S. Department of Transportation. As you may recall, we were invited to the Impact Conference in Philadelphia, and they have been working with the borough on a mission for equitable transit-oriented development. So they hosted their final design charrette event, and it was really engaging conversation on the importance of athletic fields to the borough and what that may look like in conjunction with the mission for equitable oriented transit. Beacon of Hope had their annual fundraiser at Rivet. It was very nice. The Memorial Day Parade and services, I want to thank all the volunteers and the Joint Veterans Council. They did a really nice job, and it was really well attended. What's today? Today's the 4th. I believe there are still shows available this weekend. I had the privilege, of sitting front row for Mary Poppins and watching Joe Cerisi act as Mr. Banks. If you don't know, our state rep is also, can sing and act and is pretty fantastic. And our own Levi Wolf had a guest appearance. So it was fantastic. Such a great show. So if you haven't gone, I think this weekend's the last. Please go see it. Art Fusion celebrated its 20th anniversary this last weekend, which I can't even believe, because I remember when it was on High Street with Erica Hornberg Cooper. That was 13 years ago, and like, look what it's become. It's pretty amazing. With Beach Street Factory, it's awesome. My Mayor Advisory Committee, we had a meeting with the county and community partners regarding formation of the Homeless Rapid Response Team. The goal is to promote community awareness and for coordinated entry through the county system. And so this rapid response team is in formation, it's progressing. As Peggy mentioned, Commissioner Jamila Winder and her whole team from Montgomery County spent the day in Pottstown last week. It was really extremely informative and productive. They discussed county initiatives, the food system infrastructure grants, workforce housing, countywide land bank, which Pottstown's going to be involved in. They are working on a pilot program to keep rents at 30% of the adjusted gross income. What else? $18 million in the county has been earmarked for mental health programs. And they also talked about criminal justice reform. So SCI is now piloting the Miami and Scandinavian model for coordinated reentry from the prison system. And so when they were talking about this on behalf of the safety committee, I spoke out and I said, look, I respect criminal justice reform, but I shared the letter that we sent to President Judge Carluccio, along with Ryan Proxel's security camera footage of the gun violence in front of his house for the last 4 years. So I was so happy to be at this meeting because I didn't know who was going to be there. And I met with the COO of Montgomery County and the commissioner, and I sent them the letter and the video, and like things are progressing. They're going to have a meeting with the judge. So I think it was really good to be able to share that, and they're on board. And then in addition, I suggested a revision to the county grant application process to require municipal collaboration for like shared needs, i.e. food, one grant for one municipality, and then divvied up in proportion to every organization's, like who they serve and the amount of people that they serve. So I don't know if they're going to take that under advisement, but I think it would be easier to go through those grants versus getting 82 from Pottstown and all the other municipalities. All right, upcoming events. On the 7th of June, Rooted in Excellence. It's a pageant and youth business fair at Pottstown High School, starting at 1 p.m. I think it's 1 to 4. I will be judging. Also, that day is the car show. The following day on the 8th is the Go Forth fundraiser basket raffle at Iron Gate Beer Garden from 1 to 4. On the 12th of June is our first Pottstown Play Streets, Cherry Street Park from 5:30 to 7:30. Then on the 14th of June is our street festival. The theme is Rooted in Love. It's a family reunion. There's going to be a kids zone, basketball, live music. There's going to be a car show, food. 12 to 6, High Street will be closed from York to Charlotte Street from 11 to 7. It is our huge Juneteenth festival. Please come out. It is a really great time, and there's so many events going on for that. It's amazing. On I can't see now. On the 17th of June, the Sojourn is stopping at Riverfront Park for their dinner. And then the following day, I will be joining them at 6:30 in the morning, and we will be going the 18 miles paddle to Montclair. And I'm pretty excited. I've done it once before, and it was really amazing. And it's great that we have this in our backyard. Let's see, on the 19th, Black Excellence Gala at Rivet at 6 p.m. And I'm excited that they've been able to award 7 $900 scholarships to these students. It started out very small a couple of years ago, and so they've been getting some funding. On the 20th is the Children's Discovery Center grand opening at 4:30. The 26th is Pottstown Play Streets at Prince Street Park, which is Bright Hope, from 5:30 to 7:30. And then on the 29th is the community worship service at Smith Family Plaza from 3 to 6. And then, of course, 4th of July, we have our parade, and then the festival at Memorial Park from 3 p.m. to fireworks. And just a few announcements. I have some sad news. On Monday, we said goodbye to Hank Saylor. Most of you know Hank from the roller mills. I had the pleasure of knowing him through Rotary. He was 92. He definitely fit the bill of service above self. He was at every riverfront and pavilion cleanup, planting flowers. He was always driving the float for Rotary in every parade. So he's going to be missed. And since Chief Hand isn't here, I would like to remind everyone that fireworks are illegal in the borough. Unless you are the professional company that has been hired by Go Forth and it's 9 p.m. and you are in Memorial Park, please do not set off any fireworks. None. Lisa will come after you. I promise you this. It's a safety issue. It's a safety issue. It's a safety issue. If you would like to play with fireworks, please do so outside of the borough, and try to do so in a safe way. Okay? Yes? All right. And just with safety, if you are participating in outdoor activities, please do some common sense. And there's a lot of people out there. If you're on the water, wear a life jacket. If you're on a bike, make sure you have reflectors. There's a lot of kids and activity going on in the streets. I get it. People are excited. It's summer. We can't see you when we are driving. I don't want to run over any children or people for that matter. So please wear reflective clothing, a light at night, a helmet, and our first responders will thank you. And thank you, and that concludes my report.
Very good. And from our manager, Mr. Keller.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So a couple important updates for you. The authority has just started their hydrant flushing program, so that started on Monday and is expected to last for 2 weeks. It'll take place Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if anyone does notice some brown or rust-colored water, we ask that you run that for a few minutes until it clears up. If it doesn't clear up after a few minutes, give us a call. Also, the authority has commenced their Phase 3 lead line replacement project this week. They're starting with the boring of test holes to investigate the material. And this project area will be focused on the east end in the area of Queen Street to Center and then Keim to Moser. So we'll have further updates on that once they identify the lines. They will come in, they will notify the property owners, and then they'll begin to trench the streets and replace the lines. Couple grant updates for you. We were informed of a very substantial award from Montgomery County through the Monco 2040 grant program for Brookside Park. So we will receive $135,300 for adaptive park equipment and accessibility improvements. The borough already secured funding through other organizations such as the Health and Wellness Foundation and DCNR. So it looks like we have the funding necessary now to commence bidding on the project immediately and then hope to do the construction in fall. So those grants were written with the help of our park director, PARC, Patricia McCluskey, so she's the Regional Parks and Recreation Coordinator. So big thanks to her. And then some exciting news, we're also applying for a grant through the U.S. Soccer Foundation. And this is to support the installation of a mini pitch soccer court within the community. So those that aren't familiar, these courts are approximately the size of 2 tennis courts, 60 by 40 yards or so. And they can be adapted to accommodate virtually any flat paved site. So we're working on a grant for that. Currently, there's 2 potential locations that are identified. One is Pollock Park. Of course, that is pending the completion of environmental remediation, which needs to take place at that location. If that can't happen in time for 2026, the second location would be Maple Street Park. So this funding is part of an $11 million nationwide legacy initiative by FIFA designed to support the U.S. World Cup host regions in creating mini pitches in underserved areas and enhancing access to youth soccer and recreational programming. So unless there's any concerns with the plans or location, we would plan to move forward with that in the next couple days in terms of applying for the grant application. And then should we get awarded, we'll be sure to let you know what the construction timeline would be. An update on the Halloween parade, we did receive notice from Hobart's Run and the Hill School that, you know, after you recall last month, we approved their street closure request for that. As it turns out, their attorneys just weren't comfortable with accepting the liability of an event of that stature outside of their campus. So they are no longer willing to run the parade. So if there's any other groups that would like to come forward, they should contact Parks and Recreation as soon as possible. And then, as the mayor mentioned, we're happy to be launching Play Streets again this year. So Trinity even wore the T-shirt for my little plug here, so that's great. First one, June 12th at Cherry Street Park, 5:30 to 7:30. And for those that aren't familiar, these events are set up similar to a community block party, such as a street closure in front of a park, and there's games and activities for children and adults, as well as informational booths. And then the other dates that we have for this year will be June 12th, Cherry Street Park, June 26th, Prince Street. That would be the Bright Hope playground area. July 10th, Chestnut Street Park, July 24th, Washington West Park, and July 31st, Spruce Street Park. So look forward to a lot of exciting events to come, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. We're going to appoint an assistant zoning officer. Mr. Garner?
Yes, in conjunction with the retirement of Winter Stokes, who is our zoning, we'd like to appoint her heir apparent, Patricia Kaufman, temporarily as an assistant zoning officer. And upon Winter's retirement, Ms. Kaufman will become the zoning officer. So with your permission, on Monday night, we will have a motion to appoint Patricia Kaufman as the assistant zoning officer, and on Winter's retirement, the zoning officer. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Seeing none, thank you. And while I have you, the architectural renderings for Beacon of Hope.
Yes, thank you.
I think we have some
Council-
representatives.
Okay. Council recalls that I guess it was at the April meeting, you had made formal approval conditionally of the Beacon of Hope land development up at 601, 619 West High Street. One of the conditions was that they needed to present architectural renderings that were acceptable to Borough Council. Since that time, and have the renderings in front of you, they were submitted to Borough staff, the zoning officer, Montgomery County Planning Commission, the Borough manager, the Borough engineer. And based upon their review of the elevation, it was consensus that it meets the zoning ordinance and that the proposed building, considering its use and purpose, is appropriate in that portion of the borough, which is part of the Gateway District. So obviously, the decision is up to you, but staff is satisfied with the look of the building, and it would require a Borough Council motion to approve those elevations.
Council, any questions? Otherwise, we'll list it for Monday evening. Thank you. And again, Mr. Garner, land development on South Street.
Yes, at the last Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission viewed this minor subdivision. Essentially, this is a vacant lot on South Street. The proposal is to develop a twin home, 2-lot subdivision. I guess, Dan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, predominant discussion at the meeting was the look of the building.
Right.
The concern, not necessarily of the full planning commission, was the use of brick on the facade. The developer took that into account and has now revised the elevation to include a brick facade on the first floor of the units. The planning commission recommended actually approval of the project as it was presented, but certainly this is a good faith gesture to meet the concern of at least one member of the planning commission with respect to the appearance. Borough engineer reviewed the plan. The applicants agreed to comply with the comments of the Borough Engineering Review Letter and Montgomery County Planning Commission. There was a few minor waivers that were recommended by the Planning Commission, but candidly, there's not a lot of planning in a project like this, the two-lot subdivision, and it's infill development. And it's ready for your consideration Monday if you're inclined to move forward.
Okay, if there are no objections, we'll list that for Monday. Thank you. Where are we next? Conditional use for 894 Charlotte Street.
Yes, as council recalls, I guess it was the last month's council meeting. There were actually two conditional use hearings on Monday evening. And the first one involved 894 North Charlotte. That was a former gas station and repair garage. And the request for conditional use was to come forward and convert it to a convenience store with outdoor gasoline pumps. Based upon some of the testimony presented, presuming council is inclined to grant the conditional use, potential conditions may be appropriate. Those conditions would include prohibition of skill games at the facility, consideration of adding an additional number of parking spaces up to 7, putting a limit on the tobacco sales based on gross sales of the convenience store. Again, it's to be a convenience store, not a shop. And I guess there was some concern about property owner with buffering and fencing.
Yes.
If council's inclined, we'll have for Monday night a proposed order either granting and or denying the conditional use, and suggest these conditions, and council can act accordingly. And certainly if there's any other conditions you can think of, now would be the time to talk about them or suggest them so they can be included in the draft decision if it's a favorable one.
I just want to make sure the people that came forward with concerns, that their concerns are addressed.
It was about
With
the
the
border.
fencing, yes.
Fencing, yes.
Yeah. Lisa, I think the.
I want to make sure.
Yeah, the property fencing and the buffering, I think, is the condition that would address that.
Right.
Okay.
Anyone else? Otherwise, we'll list that for Monday. South. Okay, and next is 404 Charlotte.
Yeah, I believe that was the second hearing that you had Monday evening.
Right.
This is request, if you will, to convert first floor commercial space into 2 additional apartments. Again, we'll prepare orders either granting it or denying it, so you can decide how you want to vote Monday night. I'm not sure there's any suggested conditions on this either way, but a decision will be prepared that can act upon whether you find it favorable or unfavorable, unless council has questions.
No questions, so we'll list that. And 16 is, oh,
Chuck, this is the one that they want to park on the street?
yes,
Yes.
yeah, they don't have adequate off-street parking.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. 16, our Business Improvement District. You'll tell us about the ordinance, et cetera.
Sure. There's, I think, 3 documents that are attached to your agenda.
Yep.
And we've talked about these documents before. We've had 2 public hearings regarding the Business Improvement District. But based upon your direction last month, we moved forward with preparing an ordinance. The ordinance is not lengthy, it's rather straightforward. It basically creates the business improvement district. You as council have the legal authority to do that. There would be 3 exhibits attached to the ordinance. That would be the map of the district, a list of the properties to be assessed, as well as the final business plan for the district. The other elements in the ordinance would be to basically allow the borough to enter into a management agreement with the Management Association of the district. It would require that the same level of services that are provided to these properties be provided before and after the implementation of this business district. And I think the last part of the ordinance that's significant is that you're giving this a 5-year life, which would have an automatic sunset provision at the end of 5 years. And it could only be extended through a formal council vote to amend the ordinance. So that's pretty much what the ordinance does. There's not a lot to it, but it does contain the elements that the Neighborhood Improvement District Act requires to be part of that ordinance. The second document is a draft of the management agreement. Again, that would be agreement between the borough and the BIDMA or Management Association of the business district. And again, essentially, this agreement would meets the requirements of the act is contained in it. As far as the borough is concerned, the borough's sole responsibility in this case would be to formally file municipal claims if there were delinquent assessments that weren't being paid. But everything else associated with the business improvement district would be the obligation of the management association itself. This agreement is a draft, and certainly if council has questions, we can answer them. But I believe the agreement as is an appropriate document for your consideration. For Monday evening, the ordinance has been advertised. Justin and I were talking this afternoon whether or not you have to approve the agreement at the same time. I don't think you have to do that, but you certainly can do that. Again, it's a 2 or 3 page agreement. It refers to the life of the BIDMA consistent with the ordinance. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the agreement in its present form.
Anyone? None, Chuck.
Okay, the final document then that's attached, and I should point that the bylaws would be attached to this management agreement, but they're the bylaws of the management association and would basically define how the association operates. So all organizations need bylaws. And again, the bylaws are attached. I think they're approximately 14 pages. Very concisely, the organization would be run by a board of directors. This is according to the draft bylaws. There'd be 7 members as a board of directors. 1 member of the board of directors would be a borough representative. 1 member would be a representative from paid, and 5 members would essentially be part of members of the district themselves. So they would essentially operate and manage the business improvement district. As far as my comment with respect to the document, I have 2 comments that I think are significant. First, I believe that Borough Council should have the ability to appoint its member to the Board of Directors. Right now, the bylaws indicate that the Board of Directors would appoint a borough representative, and I think that would be a province of Borough Council. The second issue, again, based upon the management, is that if there are changes to bylaws, I think that should require approval of Borough Council. I presume you'll be satisfied with the bylaws when they're enacted ultimately, but if there are changes, I think it's appropriate for Borough Council to see those and just bless the changes. I can't imagine there'd be anything significant, but again, your oversight in this operation is very limited. You're not appointing members to the board. There's a Main Street manager that will be appointed by the Board of Directors. So again, this is all operating outside of your control. And again, I think there should be some limited oversight of Borough Council on this. And that's why I have those two suggestions about those changes. I'm happy to try and answer any questions about the ordinance, about the agreement, or about the bylaws. Justin, I don't know if I missed anything or not, but that's pretty much what I thought was significant in these documents.
Yeah, I think you've pretty much covered it.
Okay, hearing nothing, list that for Monday. Where are we? People, Parks, and Community. You got a grant for us?
Yes, so this is another grant that we'll be applying for with our Parks Department. So we're seeking $30,000 in additional funding to supplement the Brookside Park that we had just mentioned getting an award for, to enhance some of the accessibility upgrades in the new playground, as well as do some landscaping and some upgraded basketball facilities. So there's no local match required because we already have $300,000 secured for the project. So this will just be kind of a cherry on the top if we can get it.
Good. Okay, so put that on for Monday. We'll get a resolution for that. And the transit funding.
Yeah, so this was passed on by a constituent, and it's basically we're recommending that we send a resolution to the governor and the General Assembly to establish permanent, dedicated, and sustainable funding for SEPTA. And obviously, SEPTA is important for the borough because it brings the Route 93 bus to our area and provides a safe and reliable service that interconnects with PART. So you heard about some of the funding cuts, so this would maybe help to compel them to step up to the plate to help out there. In addition, if we were going to send a resolution, we also wanted to just advocate that we maintain our current funding levels for PART and continue to support the efforts for the restoration of passenger rail service between Reading and Philadelphia. So we don't have any indication that any of the federal or state funding for PART is going to be cut at this point, so that's the good news. But we do want to make sure that it's at least maintained.
Great.
So we would ask for council to adopt this on Monday night if they're comfortable with it.
Any questions?
I would just like to second that. On May 12th, I sent council an arborist resolution to support SEPTA, and I asked that Pottstown establish that resolution here as well, especially considering, we are representatives on the board of the Schuylkill River Passenger Rail Authority. So I would ask that council please adopt that resolution on Monday.
Okay. We'll do that Monday. All right, that's the transit and the PART fiscal year budget for 24, 25.
Yeah, so if you
Or I'm sorry,
recall.
25, 26.
Yeah, 25, 26, they're on a fiscal year, not a calendar year. So if you recall, last month, we awarded the purchase transportation contract to PART Inc. To run our bus service for the borough. And we also last month certified the local county match. So now that we have all the numbers in, we were able to put together a budget prior to our deadline at the end of the month. And we're recommending that council approve the PART budget, which calls for a balanced budget of $3,838,517, which is covered entirely by federal, state, and county funds.
Good. Okay, we'll list that one for Monday. That's the PART. And Juneteenth, what's alcohol?
Yes, so this kind of came in late last week, and they would like to have alcohol as a part of their event in Smith Family Plaza from 12 to 6 p.m. It would be in Smith Plaza, and then in the area of the street closure, they'll have certified ramp servers there to make sure that everyone's of age and consuming legally.
Okay. See nothing, put that on for Monday.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, upcoming board vacancies. Looking for people to volunteer to participate with the Human Relations Commission, the Land Bank Board, and the Civil Service Commission. And now let us hear from the citizens.
All right, first up, we have Richard P. What's your last name, sir? I'm sorry. Almquist. Thank you.
Good evening, councilors. I'm here just by way of information. I represent 944 Chestnut Street, which is the owner of a parcel located on Chestnut Street up by the Hill School. If you're familiar, Chestnut Street starts right by the Edgewood Cemetery and is part of that loop around that was done when, was it Cherry Street, I believe, was closed off as part of the Hill Schools project there. We are submitting an application, or have submitted an application for a waiver of land development. This is an infill development. It will be a 4-unit condominium, 2 on each floor, on top of each other, each with separate entrances. It's in the traditional town neighborhood. We have, a few months ago, visited the Planning Commission just to give them the heads up, because we don't want to have the Planning Commission feel like we're doing an end run around them. We've explained it, provided a copy of a representative architectural rendering for the development. The application is currently sitting with your staff, and we expect that it'll be before you for discussion at your next month's meeting. We've provided some updated information to the base survey plan, giving some additional zoning information. But subject to your grant of the waiver of land development, we'll proceed with the full set of land development plans that are necessary for review by your staff and your engineer and your solicitor. We are not seeking any waivers. Excuse me, we're not seeking any variances from zoning. This is a by right use. It's apartment/condominium, which is a use permitted by right within the traditional town neighborhood. Mr. Hilton will get his opportunity to review the design and will conform with the requirements for the general requirements for a new construction within the TTN as is provided by your zoning ordinance, and will also comply with all the various requirements of SALDO. To the extent we may need a waiver here or there, they wouldn't be outside of the ordinary request for waivers from SALDO, and that would still reside with your authority to grant. As I said, I'm here just to give you a heads up that that application is expected to be before you. I wanted to just introduce the project to you and let you know it was coming. If
Very
you
good.
have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll plan on seeing you next month.
So be it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Art Miller, please. Pass? Okay, next up is Carolyn. What's your last name, ma'am?
Mock, M-O-C-K,
What's your address?
916 North Franklin Street, Pottstown.
Okay.
Good evening, members of council. So I have friends and associates who are residing at the former Days Inn, which is now the homeless shelter being run by, I believe, Opportunity House. First question I have is, why is a Berks County association or organization running a Montgomery County facility? Also, they brought many illegal things to my attention. So first off, Sherman Ellis, E-L-L-I-S, with a birth date of February 9th of 1983. He is in charge of running it. He has 4 times been sued by his landlord in excess of $13,500. Comise Robinson, which is C-O-M-E-S-E, has been charged as felon, as misdemeanors. All charges were dropped. The county abandoned the charges, but why is this supposed felon and misdemeanors holding a county position? Because county supposedly came in and took over, but they left the same people in charge. I don't understand why they're letting these people run this place, because personally, I believe all these people were better off in the woods. Also, they have been blocking at night the access to the right side and the left side of the hotel by a fire truck. I have taken the video that I have as evidence, only blocking the right side by the train tracks, to fire marshal hand today. The other people that were coming to speak with me actually went to Joe Cerisi's meeting, because somebody needs to blow this out of the water of the way the people that are running that facility are running the facility. They are not doing anything legal, and they are more or less pushing back these people instead of helping them and assisting them to move forward with any of the problems they have being homeless. I've seen it. I've talked to Sherman myself. There is nothing but problems up there. I think the county said, okay, you can do it, and just let it loose. I wish somebody would look into this. Cerisi's office, as far as I know, is looking into it. And also, the director of Opportunity House is retiring this year, and someone else is coming in. So I've attempted to contact all these people today, but because of Cerisi's meeting, I was unable to get a hold of anybody. I'm a Pottstown citizen. I was born and raised here. My mother also served on council and school board. I've known Dan in excess of 30 years because I was the original treasurer of the 146th district of the Democratic Party. I played in politics before. I know how this works. I am ashamed to have us represented in this fashion. I am proud of Pottstown, Montgomery County. I want people to look at Pottstown, Montgomery County as an example for the good things that we have chosen to do as a community, as a council, as a police force, whatever. I'm looking for the positive, because personally, when people say it sucks here, you don't like it, move out. I've been here all my life, and most of the people that I've grown up with, they left and they came back.
Yes.
This place was a bomb in the 70s and 80s. And even speaking for my deceased parents, they had a bomb time in the 50s and the 60s. I want us to be able to stand out and us to be a shining star. We have the ability, we have the people, we have the council, we have representatives. And Mr. Cerisi always makes time to take care of any problems in the least. I want us to stand out there as an example. And with all this homelessness going on in many areas, I think we could be the lead example of how this should go. The people running it should not be the people running it, nor should it be Berks County as far as I'm concerned. I thank you for your time. And again, I gave Mr. Hand the evidence that I had with regards to the fire problem. Thank you.
Could we talk at a later time? Could you and I have a conversation?
Thank you. All right, next up, Denise Williams, would you like to speak, or? Yeah.
Of course, I'd like to speak.
I wasn't sure if we already covered your topic,
Well,
but
we
go
did,
ahead.
and I wanted to first say thank you to Mayor Stephanie for going through the Juneteenth event. So I'm not here to give you, say it over again, but what I wanted to do is just give you some statistics about what else is going on behind the scenes. I think it's important for people to know that Juneteenth is more than just an event. So I like to be able to highlight those things as well. So like Mayor Stephanie said, we have seven $900 scholarships being awarded. There's community service. We still need volunteers, so if people like to volunteer on that day, that's great. Our Youth Expo, we are highlighting 9 youth businesses during the Youth Expo. Our pageant has 18 participants. We have 22 scholarship applicants. I only have 7 slots. If anybody knows me, if I could find money for all those kids, I would. But I know that I will have to make some decisions this year. But we have 22 applicants, which is a huge testament to, 1, the need, and 2, the community being able to support our students in that way. 85% of the funding isn't being infused back into the community, so being infused back into small businesses, being infused back into Pottstown, and that's big as well for our economic growth as we look to continue to revitalize. The exposure that is going to be brought to Pottstown from the Juneteenth, we will be in the city. We will be on the Pico building in lights. Mm-hmm. Oh, y'all don't get excited about that? Okay, fine. I was excited about that. But we'll be on the Pico building. Valley Forge org highlighted Pottstown as a place to celebrate Juneteenth. And the community worship service, the great thing about this is Reverend Waller from Enon Tabernacle Baptist Church is actually coming to Pottstown and doing this service in Smith Family Plaza. So we are shutting down from York to Hanover. We will have tables for people to eat. Everyone who comes will get a free meal, and you will not be broken off into little sections. So can't go sit with your friend. I'm doing a long table, so you have to sit next to your neighbor. You have to sit with your friend. We're communing together. We're breaking bread. And that's what's important. And I know that there's a lot of things going on, but I also know that in this time of need, our community needs each other, and these are the events that bring us together. So this is about empowerment, bringing our community together, infusing economic money into the community, and I want to make sure that publicly I say once again, everyone is welcomed. Did everyone hear me say that? Everyone is welcome. Juneteenth is not just about the African American community. It is about the Pottstown community. It is about all of us coming together. And the theme to this year is Rooted in Love, Family Reunion, Pottstown. Aren't these cute?
Love it.
Love it, okay? I have one
Yes.
for each of the council members, but I do want to make sure that publicly, I again say, everyone is welcomed, and I want to make sure to see you there. There is a space for the men to congregate. That's for the whiskey and cigar lounge. Listen, Dan was like, Juneteenth wants the alcohol. I mean, no, we don't, I mean, hey, but it will be a time for everyone. There's something for the kids, something for the adults, so it is a family reunion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Next up is Deb Spence.
I know it's nice.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My question is about the welcome sign for Pottstown. It's not my idea. I saw it on Facebook and took the time out to come to this meeting to express it because folks that complain on Facebook don't often attend these meetings because it's almost next to impossible trying to find the meeting link, then signing up, downloading the app, and then trying to figure out how to find the code to enter the meeting, and then where do you sign up to speak. So someone mentioned that the welcome sign is jacked up looking. It does not look welcoming. It doesn't look warm, and I think it's probably the original sign for the Welcome to Pottstown. There's one right when you come down Industrial, and then there's another one by this High and Industrial, the big one, and I believe there's another one, but I can't remember off of the top of my head. But if we can update that, make it look nice and beautiful, and welcome folks into Pottstown with nice warm welcome with a beautiful sign. Also, when you're coming off of 422 and you're going down, and again, I think that's industrial. Yes, that is industrial. It's closed off because of the repairs of the bridge, but people don't know that until they actually make that left hand turn and that barricade is there. So is it possible to put the sign that, hey, road is closed midway, or, a few, um, uh, like right in between the storage and the intersection so that people can know that you can't go that way because they're making that left turn and without realizing that there's a barricade. And that's all that I have for today. I'll be back, just letting you know, for the meetings to come to express concern about the small business um, center or the bid, because most people did not want that bid, and I really feel like it's sort of again a monopoly on folks that don't live here deciding what happens to businesses. And we don't want poverty in this town. We want prosperity, and we don't want all these poverty programs coming to town. We want more lift us up opportunity for businesses, small businesses to grow and develop, for people to acquire the skills that they need so that they can buy homes and not be forever tenants, because homeownership brings equity and it brings generational wealth, and renters that may not, some people choose to rent, and I think that's good, but not everyone wants to rent. They're forced into it, uh, and they're forced into poverty by renting, especially for some of these programs. So yeah, Deb Spence is back at these meetings, and just letting you know that. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Thanks, Justin, for acknowledging my message in the chat. Appreciate it.
All right, I think that concludes public comment.
Okay. And from our counselors, Counselor Proskal, still there?
I am. Yeah, sorry I couldn't make it this evening, but my mother-in-law took a little spill this morning, and my wife's there with her while I'm here with the boys. So once again, I get to thank Goodwill EMS and our Pottstown Police Department for helping with it this morning. And it's when you have family members as accident prone as mine, Pottstown's a good place to live because of the prompt response that we get for what's going on.
Very good.
And then I was going to say also, we got Alexa informed me that we got a response from Judge Carluccio in a letter, which I'll be taking a look at and reporting to you.
Okay,
That's it.
great, thanks. Joyce?
I just have something quick. I use local businesses, and I just got a couple estimates from Married to Electric. They are wonderful. They have fantastic customer service, and I did customer service for 15 years, so I have high standards. I would let them come in and do anything to my house, so their customer service is unbelievable. So I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Good.
That's all I have.
Nope, nothing. Okay. Nothing?
Do I have anything? Oh, I'm so excited about Play Streets, if you can see.
Okay.
My shirt, Play Streets. Yeah. That's it, I don't have anything. I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Andrew?
Yeah. Pottstown has, just like is experiencing a loss, okay? And a loss of a great talent for this town has done a lot of good for this town, okay? And that person's name is Twyla Fisher. And Twyla Fisher has outkicked her coverage, so to speak, and is now being appointed economic development manager up in Ellsworth, Maine. And she is a significant loss to our community. And I do hope that she does not walk out of here with some sort of recognition for the tireless efforts that she has done over the past 10 years. I would hope that we would do something special and not let her walk out of here without acknowledging the significant impact her and her initiatives have had. Thank you.
Okay, Joe?
First, I'd like to thank all the people who went out and voted last month. Republicans and Democrats. It's very important that that you let your opinions known and go out there and participate in the political system and vote. I encourage everyone to register for the general election, and every vote counts. So I encourage that, and I thank everybody who went out. Secondly, the community grant resolution thing. He says for parks, things like that, parks and.
Which one, the
Number 17, the community grant resolution.
People's Parks Community? Yeah, that's a foundation. People's Parks and Community is a foundation.
Right, and that's a grant for parks.
Yeah,
like that.
for Brookside Park, yeah.
Oh, it's a specific park. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to clarify that. Because I just want to let the borough know that the Ricketts does need some planting done around the property. I feel that's something that we should be responsible for. So, it shouldn't be too expensive. I think it's something that we can handle. But it's something that should be done every spring. And I think we should be responsible for that, because it needs help.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay? Yeah. Oh, all right. Stephanie?
Yes, Andrew, thank you for mentioning Twyla. I just saw you at the board meeting and her little farewell goodbye. If you would be willing to help me, since I found out she's leaving Thursday, I would like to prepare a proclamation, which is not going to be done tomorrow. She is going to be back in town, but I would like to put together like a nice proclamation for her, and if you could assist, since you've been on the board for a while, that would be great, and we can either send it to her and FaceTime her in Ellsworth, or wait till she returns, but I would like to do that. Okay. That's it.
Okay, I have nothing more to add, so meeting adjourned.